Shalom and good day all, this is TheHealing29 back again for some DC and Marvel reviews. And as you can see here, I've got The Flash issue 13 and Phases of the Moon Knight issue 2. I'll now get things organized for the first one that I'll be reviewing. So starting off with Simon Spurrier's Flash. Does this cover in any way, shape or form connect to something that is happening inside with the story? Not really much, but just as much as I don't like the cover, I also don't like a lot of things about this issue. And I'm glad he's sort of off I think he's coming off this. Doesn't mean he is, doesn't mean he isn't, but he's just not best suited for the Flash. Maybe for other things, but not this. So for the cover rating, I give a 4.5 out of 10. As this cover, does sort of try to work with the story, but it's not the greatest cover for this story. So let's move into the area of the internal art as we have a look around the beginning, middle, and of course the end. So as we move into the beginning of the story, we have the character of Wally West, and we have whoever the hell these people are, or these characters are. And practically got no idea what the F is happening here. It's just that bad. Just a little bit towards the middle. Even the art feels a bit off in this. Slowly drawing towards the end. And finally the end of the story. The internal art, I give a 5 out of 10. Now it's time to move in relation to the story. Sorry about that. First, did we get any comic book references? No, we didn't. Though it would not hurt. It would actually help bring better understanding to the story. But apparently Simon Spurrier must be stupid Spurrier. You know? Because without including comic book references to get the people reading your comic to understand what's happening, it probably wouldn't hurt to include comic book references to previous issues. Stupid Spurrier. And no doubt that name will probably carry. Next is the area of time. Well, we got no indication of bloody time throughout, I think, the whole arc of this. For 13 issues full of crap. Next is the location. We still got no idea where if this was taking place. Not only that, I think the editor needs to be fired, and I think whoever's the friggin' boss on top of that should be fired too. Along with Jim Lee. And whoever's calling the shots on top of him should be fired as well. Next is the cast of characters. Somewhat the only thing I managed to make out anything with this story. It looks like we may have gotten Barry Allen, Wally West, Jay and Irie West. We also had Wade West, Jay Garrick, Max Mercury. They were somewhat the main characters that I managed to get out from this. For the overall story rating, I give it a 5 out of 10. In reality, this belongs in Fool's Gold. I mean it. This issue belongs in Fool's Gold. It's not worth the paper it's printed on. It would be better as butt wipe. So now it's time to move on to Phases of the Moon Knight, issue 2. So as we move into Phases of the Moon Knight, issue 2, does this cover in any way, shape or form connect to something that is happening inside the story? In some essence it does, to which I give a 6 out of 10. Oh my goodness, I must admit, this story was really close to going into Fool's Gold. And I mean really close to going into Fool's Gold. So let's move into the next area, and that is the area of the internal art as we have a look around the beginning, middle, and of course the end, and also what's happening story-wise with the characters. Of course, we get what's been happening in these course of events and who's writing the stories. We move into the beginning of the story, to which we get to see some of the things happening in relation to the news. I must admit, some of the art, I don't feel sort of fits this, but it's all right for what it is. At least you're able to make out some characters, because it's giving the indication that some of this story is actually taking place on a production set. As we move towards the middle of the story, we get something that seems to indicate from us that something is happening in the future and might be coming to interfere with the past. And we get to see like a bit of a future Moon Knight character, unless this is actually a story from the production set, to which it's not really clear. And last but not least, towards the end, to which we're going to get a character known as the White Rabbit turning up on the scene. So, for the internal art, I gave it a 6 out of 10, as I think that the art could have been worked on a little bit better and a little bit more. Next is the area of the story. So, with it, we do get a reference to the Night Raven. So, some comic run of sorts, or a story arc maybe around the Night Raven and how they will play into this. At least that was included, so that's something good. Next we have the area of time, which we have 1 week later, and also the year 2846. The key locations that sort of like showed up in the story, we had the city, a production set, and the Grant Manor. So we know that in this, Moon Knight is sort of like using one of his aliases, which connects to his acting career. And last but not least, we have Moon Knight and the character of Khonshu, and a little bit unsure as to who the rest of the characters were. The overall story rating, it gets a 5 out of 10 for me. This was so close to landing in the Fool's Gold for me this week. Until then, let's keep it colourful and have yourself an awesome day.